Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for our presentation. We are the usability group using the tool Crazy Egg. My name is Jack, and with me are Mason, Sam, and Priscilla. I'll now let Samuel introduce the tool quickly for everybody.
Hello, everyone. So for our group, we decided to choose usability testing. Usability testing is a testing method used in human-centered design for evaluating a product, software, or service application's performances. The purpose of usability testing is to improve the overall experience a client finds when using the application. Usability testing allows us to observe and analyze how our users interact with the system. For usability testing, we use real users to achieve a real task with a product under defined conditions. And with this testing, we're able to get quantitative and qualitative data from the user's interaction and experience. And for our usability testing, we decided to go with a tool called Crazy Egg, and I would allow Priscilla to dive deeper into details about it.
Okay, so for the snapshot, it takes a deep look into the website of each element. The activity that are being used by the user, which include heat map, scroll map, confetti, and overlay. Each snapshot includes a still image of the link being monitored. So for the heat map, this communicates user traffic and trend in an area of display option. Then for the scroll map, it displays the percentage of users that see an area of the website. Then for the confetti, by the click of the heat map which show the information like where particular users are from or what browser they are used. Next, we have overlay. It performs the amount of the term to find out each element of being used and click on the website pages. Next, we have recording. It tracks a particular user mouse movement and click as they operate the SUT. It's like a video player, which it records the activity or how the user are using the website. Then for the A/B testing, it output different kinds of the design of the website as to test out and compare which is the better design than one another. Lastly, the editor. It is a simple tool. It allows developers to make changes easily of the website design, which no coding or design skill required. Then we will have Jack to continue the next slide.
Thank you very much, Priscilla and Samuel. So, our plan of attack to begin testing our SUT is to first find users to go on the websites we chose, preferably with varying technological experience. Because this is just a four-man project and we don't exactly have access to advertising, our primary targets were family members and friends. The more diverse the users are, the more informational our data will be. Then, we set up each of our SUTs by injecting a Crazy Egg script into our HTML, PHP, or JavaScript file, and doing so will allow Crazy Egg to begin tracking the data from the websites. Following this, we will get the users we found to interact with the websites we are testing and document their findings. Then we will use the tool in conjunction with their commentary to start analyzing data by taking a look at the heat maps and recordings that Crazy Egg observed. After examining the data, we will then begin reworking our SUTs based on our findings, utilizing the design tool that Crazy Egg has to offer. We will then present our newly improved SUT to our users, who will then repeat the process of interacting with them, and so on and so forth. We then reiterate the entire process as many times as time or resources will allow us.
Thanks, Jack. So as a group of four and having a rather lightweight tool for testing, we decided to split and test 4 different systems. However, given time, we're only going to be showing one. We do have them at the end of the presentation if there's time for during questions, but for now, we're going to cover the testing for They Will, a website from a recent school project. In this instance, we supplemented the tool with user commentary and review, which would make up for the loss of heat map data, which unfortunately in this example was not a useful statistic, as it could not dynamically track changes to the web page. So if you had a pop-up, it wouldn't track the heat map data there. So we couldn't really draw much conclusions from that. However, the recordings were useful, and we'll get into more detail there. Since our code does not really have test cases, there was no need for test cases in our design. We instead used test scripts to allow us to analyze their speed given different iterations, so speed to the goal. Doing this, we could reliably judge when a user got hung up and if a given solution helped. We base most successes by the speed of their sessions. In most cases, users with few commentary also finished or reached the goal state sooner. Among the major issues was a geolocation pop-up. It informed users that our website could not track their location and would default to New York. However, most users thought this was a bug and hesitated to continue. My recordings aligned with this commentary, as users would hover over the area for an extended time, trying to make sense of the issue. Another issue was an unnecessary amount of time spent on the venue slider. It's obvious, given the time they took to pick a specific venue, that a new form of input was required. So there were 50 specific options, but the slider was too difficult to seek them. Obviously, we had to consider something like radio buttons. So finally, users also expressed their annoyance with the bottom location menu. Having to scroll right on the desktop felt uncomfortable. This was not noticeable in our tests on Crazy Egg, which highlights the importance of user commentary. Users also expressed their desire for a help button among the map menu instead of on the landing page. In the next testing cycle, I prioritized changes based on the severity of the issue. So first we changed the venue scroll bar, replacing it with a placeholder drop-down menu. Then we removed the lower scroll bars, favoring a grid of buttons instead. One issue here is that this did not handle well on small screens. So for mobile users, we would want to have the scroll bar, but in this case, we were just testing the grid on desktops. Another reasonable iteration was the addition of the Help Me button, which allowed users to access the Help Me page without having to leave the menu, although it did redirect to the Help Me page, so that's another usability improvement we can make as we continue going forward. Recordings showed a clear improvement in the time it takes a user to select a specific venue. The current drop-down is visually jarring, so finding a proper place for it is the next reasonable step. The added question mark was an appreciated addition. However, users expressed their annoyance of being taken away, which again we anticipated. While we did not arrange any mobile testing, I also suspect the button's proximity to the close button would be a hindrance. As you can see, they're rather close together. So in mobile instances, that would be annoying. The geolocation error was also updated with a more user-friendly message regarding the system's current predicament. So before we go into our conclusions, I'm going to quickly show you the Crazy Egg tool as we were running those tests. And our snapshots, these are our collective snapshots. If I go to the label food generator, you'll see that our data is not very useful in this particular website, but that's only because there's so few buttons. It is good to see that it is attracting the most clicks, however. The real bulk of the findings for this situation were the recordings. So here you can see, if we go here, that in these red areas of the playback, that the user was spending an excessive amount of time selecting their venue. In this instance, I had users, this is one of our test cases, where I had them seek out a range of 10 kilometers, max result 7, and a max price, as well as a unique venue. Users struggled to find the venue despite it being alphabetically sorted. So this took them about 12 seconds to complete. Moving on, they also struggled understanding the geolocation permission, which also coincided with, at the same time, with another bug, this infinite loading. So the geolocation issue made them think that they were causing the bug, and they didn't understand that this was just a message to inform them that we couldn't track their location. So that's an instance where we had to fix and reiterate and improve usability of the recordings. You'll see that this user didn't know that the drop-down button was a drop-down. So that, again, iterative process. But if we go to the point where they know that it is indeed a drop-down button, oh, forgive me. You can't see the drop-down button because it is hidden for privacy. Crazy Egg hides certain variables, but you can see it changes from bar rather quickly, so they obviously were able to select it at a much faster rate than with the sliding option. Going back, we did attempt some A/B tests, although A/B testing is more for onboarding than achieving usability, so there's no way to time if one iteration was faster. Only it tracks if more people are using the tool, if more people are pressing generate. So we didn't really find a good reason to use A/B tests for improving the user's usability, although it would be a good tool for retention, user retention, and the like. The editor also was too lightweight to make thorough changes with, which we may have more time to go into in the conclusions. Samuel, if you'd like to go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mason. So for our conclusions, we had to analyze the good and the bad. And for the good, we realized that it's clear that Crazy Egg expects large amounts of traffic to become truly effective. It can produce useful analytical data for existing changes, despite being weak at finding or narrowing down said changes. And for developers, it's best paired with other software or user surveys. So developers should use other tools to determine usability flaws, and Crazy Egg to review retention trends afterward. For the bad, so for the bad, it didn't satisfy all our needs as specified in our requirements document. And initially, we actually thought that the heat maps and recordings would be enough for like information. However, the user surveys provided necessary context for our data. The A/B testing did not aid us in improving the user's experience because it focuses too hard on the retention, subscription, and the onboarding. For recordings actually proved to be the most enlightening for us, mainly due to the small traffic and it reduces reducing gains from the heat maps. Thank you.
So that is our presentation. I'm going to have past Mason bring it on to present group members to answer any questions that you guys have. If you have any questions about how you set up Crazy Egg snapshots, we can go into further detail. We also have our other system under tests below. Thank you.